guys, here's a basic how-to video for swapping from a returnless fuel system to a return style system in your 2006 to 2011 naturally aspirated Subaru. This should apply to Impreza, Legacy, Forester, Outback, whatever you have as long as it's 2006 to 2011. I assume it would be similar for the others as well, the newer ones, but I don't have experience with them to be certain. The primary reason you might want to complete this setup is if you're adding boost. The stock setup is perfect for NA. With a turbo or supercharger, every PSI you add to the cylinder works against the fuel pressure coming from the injector. Return style setups have the pressure regulator under the hood instead of in the tank, and add fuel pressure as boost rises. I never had any fueling issues on my car running up to 10 PSI on the stock returnless system, but this will give you a lot more headroom for adding more boost and probably easier to tune as well. The parts you'll need to collect to do this swap are return style fuel rails and adapters, fuel pressure regulator from a turbo car, a new return line to the tank, and a way to get it back into the tank. Some people drill and tap an elbow into the stock pump housing, but I got a Legacy GT pump housing from eBay and it worked out perfectly. Here you can see I used WRX stock fuel rails. You can use stock or aftermarket, whatever you can get your hands on. I did have to modify these some to fit around everything once installed on the engine. You can also see the Radium adapters here that are used to mate these up with the NA intake manifold. There are several other brands available too. The new fuel pressure regulator will take place of your stock dampener, and if you have a master cylinder brace, everything can be mounted solid like this. A vacuum source is needed for this setup also. I drilled and tapped my old PCV hole in the intake manifold and put an elbow as a dedicated vacuum source for this. I ran my return line across the firewall and down the passenger side of the car. It seemed much easier to cross over up front than anywhere underneath. I ended up adding more clamps than shown here, just to keep the hose from sagging. A dab of silicone keeps things from rubbing in some areas if needed. I also used some heat shielding on the hose as it passes the downpipe. And finally, here's a before and after of the fuel pump housing. You can see the third fitting for the return line on the new one. You may need to adjust your tune as well. Mine was quite a bit richer under boost due to the increased fuel pressure, but that's not too big of a deal. And that's it.